All right, RJ, here we are talking about a little bit of get to know you for the Wrestlers in Business Network.
Yeah, man.
We want to highlight your business, Expert Edge.
Yeah.
Tell us all about it. Kind of turning the page on a new chapter,
Yeah.
but going back to some of your roots. So tell us about Expert Edge.
Yeah, so Expert Edge Business Coaching was actually founded July 4th of 2011. I kind of semi-retired after a 20-year career with a company called Tom James Company. A lot of people know that industry. I was consulting with high net worth individuals for 20 years. Launched the business coaching practice at that point in 2011. Was writing a book, had some online products, had some masterminds, some live events, and actually my biggest account was a company called Rev Local, which is a little tiny startup. A lot of folks are familiar with Rev Local. We were 10 employees at the time, I think about 100 clients, and we grew it to, they hired me on, and after 90 days, we kind of made an offer for me to come in-house. And from 2011, basically 2012, until this last fall, we grew it to almost 7,000 clients, over 500 employees, a nationwide digital marketing agency that was very trusted and respected. And we had a successful acquisition. So as you can imagine, as we were launching Rev Local, I still had coaching clients, but it just was growing and growing and growing, fastest growing businesses in America and best places to work. And it was just an awesome unicorn of a company that the team created and built, and it was fun to be a part of it. But with that successful acquisition by a company called Haibu out of Cedar Rapids, Iowa, they're about a 97-year-old company, actually one of the old phone book companies, and so it was a great acquisition for our employees, for our clients, and for them. That happened in the fall, and with that being the case, I was able to relaunch my business coaching practice. And now I've got a variety of facets of what I do. I'm still with the acquiring company, Haibu. Certainly respect them and appreciate them, and bringing value to them. For the most part, those that knew me in the digital marketing space, it's in the franchise world now. So accounts like Hammer and Nails Grooming is an account that we have a very large account, and some others as well. But a lot of folks see me involved with them. So in that franchise space, I still do some of the digital marketing with them, but a lot of my efforts now are on my coaching practice, and that includes private coaching, group coaching, masterminds, speaking engagements, and things like that. And that's mostly with small businesses, the kind of that standard small business client.
Perfect. That's what I was getting at is the small business person,
Yeah.
especially specifically who we rub elbows with
Yeah.
in WIBN.
Yeah.
What would you be able to offer them?
Well, I think the first and foremost, I've got, basically 40 years now of coaching and consulting people, running my own business, being a part owner in 3 different businesses now that have grown, escalated, and been able to cash out of to a certain degree, depending on the company. And I'd say the biggest thing is I just want to offer value to fellow wrestlers. A lot of the young sales guys that are wrestlers are going to go, they're going to go into sales, and they want to learn the right things to do to be upwardly mobile, make as much money as they can, that sort of thing. So I think the biggest thing, I just want to be of value. I'm turning 60 this Saturday, so as we're shooting this video, so right now I'm living a life. My license plates on my car say second half. It's all about giving back, and that's been really important to me for a long time. So I'll meet with a small business, really any small business, and do an analysis of their business and look at the things. What are the next steps that they need to take to accelerate their profits, to reclaim back time for themselves, to amplify the impact that they want to have. And in many cases, they need to be working more on the business instead of in it. So I'll do that with really pretty much any business owner. I'll meet with a sales guy and talk to them about their schedule and habits. But at the end of the day, some folks want to invest in themselves through their business or as a salesperson. And I've got some strategies that I can do to help them. Others might just take that and move on, and that's totally fine because I know it'll come back to me. But I'd say the 3 primary ways I can help folks is if they, I have some clients that are just like, man, I need accountability. I need a weekly meeting. I run my own business, but the great thing is I run my own business, but the bad thing is I run my own business, and I've got nobody holding me accountable or coaching me, or my spouse, my wife tries to, and that doesn't come across right. So, so private coaching, one-on-one coaching, in most cases it's in a virtual setting. That's kind of at the highest investment level. That's where I'm going to really get to know their business, know their team, coach and guide them to certainly get back an extra return off of what they're investing with me. And matter of fact, my compelling offer is, if we can't find my fees and revenue growth, and within 90 days of actually the coaching sessions, then I'll continue to work for free. And I haven't had a situation now where that really hasn't happened. So so private coaching. The second way would be group coaching, and I've got a team of coaches that if somebody does a group coaching model, that's, again, it's online, it's workbook, it's portal, it's all that kind of stuff, but it doesn't have the same investment level, and it's a lot of people on a call instead of just a one-on-one. And then I'd say my introductory level would be like masterminds, and that's where I'm pulling people together and we're building community, and sometimes it's through an industry. Sometimes it's just salespeople, sometimes it's just business owners. It could be a mix of those, but that's a minimal investment level that folks can just get around the community, and they're able to use my network and the folks that I know. But that's that or speaking engagements, because people are always looking for somebody for their conference, or whether it's virtual, in person, or come speak to their sales team, that sort of thing. So
one of the things that in particular with when you're talking to wrestlers, we use the word grind a lot.
Absolutely.
And I'm thinking of the small business owner that's grinding in their business and thinking to themselves, there's nothing wrong. Status quo every single day. Things are good. Yeah, I work hard. I'm grinding. I'm meeting some of my goals. I'm successful. But then somebody like you comes along, and
I'd say, let me talk to your wife, or let me talk to your kids. Like, is everything okay? Let's be real. You know what I mean?
That's great. That's a great way to put it, because I'm thinking, how do you get through to that individual that's just grinding and grinding and grinding, and not being able to see outside of their bubble?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's, and trust me, I've been the guy that's done the grinding, right? And one thing I try to do, I'm a faith-based person, so I've always tried to have my priorities with my faith in line. I've always tried to have my wife and my 3 daughters. I've got grown daughters that are now turning 33 this weekend, same as with me, a 30-year-old and a 28-year-old who's turning 28 this weekend. I've always tried to put them first. I never missed their events unless I was literally out of the country and something happened. So that was a very high priority for me, but I would grind around that. I've always, the companies that I have worked with and had been able to get ownership in and grow to, VP level sort of things, they were entrepreneurial, where I was able to be an entrepreneur within that company. But yet I wasn't the sole owner or the primary owner, that sort of thing. To answer your question though, there are so many small business owners that I've worked with, both in any of the companies I've worked with, and they're grinding, they're putting in the work, but then what really happens is their marriage is suffering. What really happens is their kid really wishes they could make it to dad could make it to the soccer game, and then it's like, well, I got to put food on the table. Like, I can't. Something has to give, and I'm very pro family, and I hate to see those situations happen amongst the family and the kids, and so I think sometimes maybe the spouse has been saying it, maybe the kids have been saying it, but sometimes somebody like myself says it, and or they admit it to somebody like myself, and then it's like, okay, let's figure out a way, let's do something, let's restructure. Maybe you don't make quite as much, but we're able to shift business to a number 2. Let's get you focusing more on the business instead of in the business, and so that you can reclaim back some of that time. Let's accelerate those profits to reclaim that time, and then to amplify that impact on your wife, your family, your church, your community, the world. I mean, who knows? So hopefully that answered the question. Probably 2 or 3 others.
And then some. Like I was going to say, I mean, the concept of consulting to the outside person, to somebody, you always think, oh, those guys just, they're an expert in a certain field or a certain area, and they don't make any money.
Yeah.
They just give away free intellectual capital.
Mm.
So I'm not saying you need to disclose
Yeah.
what you do and how you do things, because that is your intellectual capital. But what I'm getting at is the outside person has a hard time understanding what exactly a business consultant will do for me
Yeah.
until they hit that time in their business where they're either
Yeah.
losing it
Yeah.
or family issues or
Yeah,
something
yeah.
like that, where they don't want to necessarily give up. Then they seek outside counsel,
Mhm.
and that's really where you become mentor, counsel, coach,
Yeah.
right?
Strategist. Like there's a lot of those things.
But don't wait too late.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think just think of the world, and two things. So first of all, consultants used in a variety of ways. Like at Rev Local in the digital marketing space, we were consultants, and it just meant that we were consultative selling, right? We're not just trying to hammer them over the head with 70s and 80s, kitschy closing lines, right? Coffees for closers type stuff. It was very consultative. It's find out tell them where they're off and what they need to do if they want to choose to use us or not. And again, I'm still as I have a role in that franchise space for digital marketing, I'm gonna tell them what they need to do. It's the same way I am with my business coaching clients.
If they want help along the way and accountability and guidance and a weekly meeting and somebody that has got 40 years of experience of leading organizations, running sales organizations, accelerating profits. And, I do have 13 years in the digital marketing space as well. Prior to that, consulting with high net worth individuals that were entrepreneurs, lawyers, doctors, CEOs, pro athletes, politicians. So I've got this wealth of knowledge. I think the biggest thing, what am I offering when we think of that consultant role? I really do like to say coach, because to me, a lot of business consultants, that you hire them to come in and do it for you, and in many cases that might even be more money to pay somebody to bring them on for a 90-day window. They're going to put all the systems and processes in place. What I do as a coach is I'm going to assess it. I'm going to talk to you about what you need to do. I'm going to show you the steps to take. I'm going to hold you accountable to that, and then you and your team are going to put that into play. So it costs some pretty good money to do that, but it doesn't cost near as much as if you had a consulting team come in and actually do it for you.
Mm-hmm. So yes, it's expensive, but it's an investment.
Mm-hmm.
And if through that investment, if you then get time back and there's an ROI on that investment, because now you have sales processes in place, you have marketing strategy in place, it becomes a very worthwhile investment, and in many cases a multi-X return. So I would say what I'm going to be doing is, am doing and will continue to do for clients is weekly calls where I'm meeting with them virtually. We're talking about how did the week go, what were the wins, what were the successes, what were the struggles. We work through some of those things. There's some flash coaching that happens right on the spot. Then we usually have metrics in place that we want to talk through. Where are we at? What's the state of the business? What's the state of the sales and the gross revenue and the profits? But then we're going to work into, and I've got software that I bought into that's proprietary that uses a 2.5 billion algorithmic sequences to help me ask the right questions and pull out what are the next steps for that client to do. And then I've got a portal that I'm able to shift it over. Okay, we got this done. This is in process. This is done. We're moving forward. And just each week, we just keep forcing them to work on the business, and then they go back and either do it themselves or work with their team. And next thing you know, 3 months goes by, 6 months goes by, 9 months goes by, and just like the book of the gap and the gain, we're not just looking at the horizon. We look over our shoulder and we're like, oh my gosh, look at where we're at. Not only in increased revenue and in many cases profits, but also what systems are now in place. And at the end of the day, you're now making that business more saleable as well. And in many cases, people are trying to look for an exit strategy. Okay, well, I can help with that. That's one of the things I do.
You've used the word leader and leadership a few times since we've been talking. How important is leadership to you?
Well, especially speaking to a bunch of wrestlers, we used to think of leading was like taking care of your square. Like that's one of the reasons I liked wrestling over football. It's like I was going to take care of my square. Hopefully more times than not. When I started, it was definitely more times than not I wasn't. But I knew where to point the finger.
I knew that guy was better than me on that day, and I didn't take care of my square. My dad was military, so I always think of like, I've always been the kind of guy that I'm going to take care of my square, and then you've got nothing that you can say because I've got it locked down. So when I think of a leader, I think of in today's world, it's a person that leads by example. We've all heard readers are leaders. We have to be well informed. We can't slide on that. I think you maybe know, I'm accelerating my reading. I'm not slowing down my reading. I'm accelerating my reading at my age because things are just changing so quickly, and we have to continue to take in that content. And one person might be like, I just need to pound the phone more. It's like, no, you need to read more, become more efficient. So I think the best leaders are ones that are focusing on themselves getting better so that they can be the best version of themselves to their team, to their family. And I just see a lot of us, wrestlers that know how to grind and we're athletic, and we might have gone through these periods of time where we let ourselves slide. And I had a big come to Jesus moment about 3.5 years ago where we lost my father-in-law, and I realized I was more overweight than I'd ever been. I wasn't working out like I should have. I wasn't doing any kind of martial or combat arts. And I just kind of woke up from that slumber, and I was fat and happy. And I was making good money, and our company was growing, and I had coaching clients in addition to that, and active in my church, active with my family. But at the end of the day, I wasn't happy with who I was. And so for me, leadership at that point was, I need to go do something really hard. Chosen Suffering, Tom Ryan's book. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go into, I've done karate and different forms of karate. I'm going to go do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu because I'm going to be the guy that has to walk to the very end of the line wearing a white belt, and I'm going to get smashed as pretty much the oldest guy on the mat. And I need to just take it, and I need to work through it. And that was 3.5 years ago. It was 5 days a week, going into a 6:30 class, 6:30 or 7 class. And now I backed it down to 3 days a week, but I'm doing personal training with another WIBN guy. And now I'm in a totally different position than I was 3.5 years ago. So leadership is knowing what's the right thing to do for you and your family and ultimately your business. And in many cases, it's starting with taking care of themselves so that they can project the right version of themselves, put that oxygen mask on to a certain degree. But we've all failed. None of us are perfect at it. None of us are good at it. We have seasons, and we got to do the best that we can.
How'd you get involved with wrestling from the very beginning? Tell us a little bit more.
Yeah, very beginning. And again, I'm not one of the guys that was good enough to wrestle in college. I was going to walk on, but in 1979, one of my best friends, my dad was a basketball star. He's 83, still alive, love him to death. We are the exact opposite. He was tall, handsome, brilliant, really good basketball player, quiet and shy, right? Just like got elected president of his class for Grandview Heights in 1960 and never politicked for it. Like everybody just voted him that because he was that guy. And then here I am. I take after the Italian side. I'm short, I'm stocky, and I couldn't make the basketball team. We switched and we moved out to Pickerington in 1979. And my best friend at the time, we were coming into wrestling season. He's like, hey, what sport are you going to play? And I'm like, it sure as heck at Pickerington isn't going to be basketball. He's like, come out for the wrestling team. So I was on the freshman team, and Coach Nick Burgess, who just got elected in the Hall of Fame, was our head coach. Mike Lanza, Steve Anderson. Mike Lanza ended up being Gahanna's football coach for many, many years. I still chat with Coach Burgess a fair amount. So I got into it. Again, started off, wasn't really good, got decent, was varsity last couple years. Didn't go to states, and but I had that wrestler's mentality. And then I got into college. I was going to go walk on for Huska, and I ended up being like, do I want to roll around with sweaty dudes or lift up pretty girls in the air? So I ended up becoming a cheerleader.
Okay.
And did a lot of activities. That was one of them. And but just always had a love for combat sports. I got into karate, martial arts, different styles of karate. And then honestly, what got me back was Tom Ryan. Because Tom and I met, his son Jake and my middle daughter became friends, as 6th, 7th graders, boy and girl friends. And I met him, and great story for another time. and I said, I'm gonna start watching Ohio State wrestling, and because those last years were not as at the level that that Tom has certainly taken it to. And so that's been 18, 19 years, whatever it is now. And I was texting Tom yesterday, wished him happy birthday. And but that got me back into it. And then I had actually heard about Wrestlers in Business Network and thought, what a great organization, just because that mentality, buy from, work for, work with, sell to, etc. And I thought, man, I'd actually kind of thought about it. And then all of a sudden I heard it had started in Columbus, and I'm like, that's great. Mm-hmm. And so that's how I got back involved with actually a nonprofit related to it. So it's been a blast. Loved it.
You are on a leadership team. You are on the board of Wrestlers in Business Network. What are you trying to get out of it? You're putting into it. You're pouring into it. What do you want to get out of it?
With the mess up on the phone, it hasn't been for the last couple of months. Inside joke there. But what am I trying to? I mean, I believe that if you do good things and you put good into the world, it's going to come back to you. So whatever that means. I mean, it's like I enjoy through wrestlers. I enjoy the friendships. I enjoy the camaraderie. I'm a dad of 3 daughters. And it's been a lot of estrogen in our home. So to me, to go watch wrestling, hang out with the guys, and quite frankly, I'm not going to strip clubs. I'm not, messing around with my wife and things. I'm going out with other good dudes and have a lot of the same values as me. We can talk business. We can talk. It was digital marketing there in many cases. Now it's business profitability. And if I can give tips, and to me, what I'm getting out of it is it's just a community that I get to engage with, and if business comes out of it, as well, that's great too. But that's not why I'm there. I'm there for the community, and I'm there for. I know we're also doing good things for kids, and I know I see those young sales guys. I remember being that young sales guy. So I have some of those guys are in one of my masterminds right now that have been in Wrestlers in Business Network, and I'm engaging with them, and I'm just trying to give. I know you're saying, what do I want to get out of it? What I want to get out of it is I want to give back, But yeah, when coaching client, I've certainly got plenty of digital marketing clients that came from that. And now if people are looking for coaching, certainly I would entertain that if it's the right thing for them. And if it's not, I'm going to add value and then have them do it on their own. But if they want accountability and coaching and guidance along the way, then let's invest in yourself and let's look at something that would work out.
Let's shift to how somebody can get a hold of you. Socials, related. There's a QR code behind us here that you can see. That's one way to do it. But let's talk about how somebody can get in contact with you if they're in immediate need or just to get to know you a little bit more.
I mean, I think at this point I've been in digital marketing for a lot of years. So you Google my name, you're going to find me. That's the first thing. Is definitely active on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. So whichever channel of choice. They can email me at rj@rjlowery.com. That's also my link tree. So that the link tree would that would also take them to the socials. So rj@rjlowery.com. So you can connect it whichever social. It's also allow them to drop onto my calendar. So I'd say those are probably the best ways. They can either email me or just go to the website or just connect and DM me on any of the social channels.
All right, RJ, it's been amazing to get to know you, talk to you here a little bit for 25 minutes on this call.
Quick.
But what am I missing? What else needs to be added here before we get off? This is more or less just to get to know you. We're highlighting your business this month. You are going to sponsor the next happy hour. Yeah. So we want to make sure that this information is given out before our happy hour is brought up, our next event. We've got some great events coming up in the future that you're always heavily involved in as well. What am I missing here? What else do you want to add?
I just think that this would be kind of a soapbox statement. There's so much stuff going on in our world and on social media and politically, so many high charged things. I just think my message would be, first of all, don't engage in those things online. You're not going to change anybody's mind. I don't care where you stand politically. I don't care where you stand faith-based, even though I am a faith-based person personally. But I know I'm not gonna like go win somebody, by saying the opposite thing, especially online. And I think we need to get back to just genuine relationships in person, that you can get to know somebody. You don't paint them into a box because of what side of the aisle they're on or what their faith is and that sort of thing. And I welcome those kind of conversations. I love them if somebody wants to just sit down and have an honest conversation. But I'm not gonna. So I think the biggest thing for me is that, I'm a dude, a dad of only daughters, a dude that's in my second half, that's trying to leave this world a better world. If I were to be taken today, I feel like I've lived an incredibly blessed life. I'm very thankful and very grateful. I think the sport of wrestling and martial arts, combat arts, has been a big part of that. I think that in today's day and age, don't take yourself so seriously. You can take what you do seriously, but don't take yourself so seriously. And just look to build and foster authentic relationships and conversations that you can find common ground. I think we've both been in sales for a long time, and we've had plenty of people that think completely different than us that have purchased from us and build a relationship with us. And I just think we need to have more of that. And I think other than that, if somebody's seeing this that's not in Wrestlers in Business Network and your kids are in it, you used to be in it, you're a fan of it, like I would encourage you to come check out our organization. We do good things for good people. We uplift the sport of wrestling and all that it stands for. And I'd say for those that are a part of it, is keep coming, bring your friends, come to the events, donate, invest, sponsor, and let's make the world a better place. Just one authentic conversation and relationship at a time. I'd wrap it up.
No better way to say it than that. I couldn't have said it better myself. I appreciate the time. It's been great to get to know you. Thank you.
Thanks, man.